All right, so quick disclaimer: while we were filming this episode, we kind of we couldn't get the first episode out in time, so we're just gonna roll with the UFC podcast as the second episode, but it's technically the first. So yeah,
Yo, what's up, y'all? It's the Hot Seat UFC edition, episode 2. I'm here with my boy Christian. Say what's up.
What's up, y'all?
And
You
as you can
guys
see by
ready?
the shirt, yeah, we're gonna be talking all UFC. We got a big weekend coming up. We got the Super Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
but more importantly, we got Adesanya Whitaker too.
UFC 271, baby.
Yeah, yeah. You know, one of the most anticipated matchups of the year for sure, for sure. I just want to hear your thoughts about it, Christian. You know, what are your
Well,
predictions? Yeah, what are your predictions for
honestly, I see Adesanya on top right away. The
Yeah.
best striker the UFC have seen in a while. The most prolific, the most consistent striker in a
Uh-huh.
while. I don't know, man. This is what this is the third fight or the second one.
This is
I'm
gonna
not
be the
sure.
second fight.
It's
Second
the
fight.
second fight. Man, I don't see Whitaker even touching him. I see second round TKO Whitaker.
It's actually
Adesanya.
the odds are really split. I think Adesanya is like a minus 100, 150, and then
Well,
I think he's a minus 200, and then
because he went
Whitaker.
up to light heavyweight.
Yeah,
Everyone's changing their mind, but they know he's not built for light
yeah,
heavyweight yet.
yeah.
He still has middleweight to conquer, which he's already doing. No one can touch him in middleweight.
Hey,
But
that yeah, like you said, you brought up a good point. That one loss to that one loss to Jan. It sucks,
it
but
sucks. But
it's that one stain on his record,
on his
21.
record, but it doesn't matter though because he still is going to run the middleweight division. I don't see anyone touching Adesanya for a while.
I I I will say Whitaker has the best chance out of that whole division.
Whitaker does have the best chance,
I mean
but
they
Adesanya's
yeah.
striking is too consistent. His stand up is too good.
Hey, it's Vittori's division to lose. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, I
no,
think Vittori's coming back.
yeah,
Vittori,
no.
man,
You got
Vittori's
Paul.
watched too.
Insert Paul Costa means I'm coming for you. Yeah.
Oh man, Paulo Costa's bad. Paulo
I,
Costa's
no,
he's
he's cool.
steroid
He's
freak.
cool. All right, so I just want to say, besides Adesanya and Whitaker, we'll get back to that later. We got Luis Tuivasa, Tai Tuivasa. One of the most
That's good.
one of the most popular fighters in the sport. Obviously, Knuck Boys
Yeah, of course.
helping it
Nug
out.
boys.
Who do you see
Hmm
winning that fight? I think Tuivasa is gonna take it. I think his striking,
It's
it's
impeccable. It's really good. It's really
yeah.
good for his
He's
size.
he's so much more technical than Lewis, but Lewis
Yeah,
has the best
Lewis
knock.
is
He's the top 3 knockout fighter in the UFC.
UFC right now. Yeah,
So I don't. This fight could go either way. I'm leaning towards Tuivasa because that's popular, but
this is the
Lewis
thing.
should take it. Yeah,
Derek Lewis is like a little baby Francis. His
yeah.
power is insane. But the thing about Derek Lewis is he's not getting better like Francis. Lewis's cardio isn't
His
improving at all.
agility is
His
terrible,
agility
man.
is retarded. But
Yeah.
if Tuivasa survives 2 rounds, he wins. Lewis is not surviving past the third round, bro.
Tuivasa
His
got the
cardio
package,
isn't there.
man.
But the
Tuivasa
but
got the
the
whole package.
but the thing is, Derek Lewis, man, you can't count him out. One
Yeah,
slip up, one bad takedown, you think you can get it, it's over. He'll knock you out right away. And that's
yeah.
the thing. He's just a striker, bro. But it's not like he's like a really flexible striker. He's just he's straight like a right hand power knockout. That's how Tyron Woodley was too. But
Yeah.
and that's the
No,
scariest fighters. You don't want to slip up once. But
I
I,
get what you're saying. I just want to ask you one question. Sorry to cut you off. All right,
no
so
problem.
let's say Tuivasa's what is he right now in the heavyweight standings? I think he's 11
Heavyweight,
right now, 10 or
I
11.
think so.
I think
Maybe
he
10.
deserves to be higher. I just think he hasn't fought enough against the top guys yet. He
Mhm.
beat Greg Hardy on the McGregor Poirier card,
Yeah,
but I mean this is gonna be probably his biggest fight yet for sure.
100% is his biggest
Derek
fight.
Lewis is one of the top dogs in that division.
He
Do
is.
you see if Tuivasa wins this fight? Could you see maybe either like like a Curtis Blades? Did he fight him already? Do you see a Curtis
No, he
Blades
hasn't.
fight? Yeah. Do you see a Curtis Blades fight or like a Volkov kind of
I think
fight?
I
Yeah.
think a Curtis Blades fight would be amazing. That'd
Yeah.
be a really good fight. Tuivasa is really good. He's a fan favorite with the shoe thing. Everyone loves him.
Yeah. Of
Nelk
course.
loves him, and Dana's also doing this new promotion where
That's his guy. Yeah.
Nelk can sponsor fighters, and that's gonna bring him even more. But I don't know, man. Tuivasa is really good, bro. He's just the underdog here. We're gonna have to see. Everyone's putting Derek Lewis down because he lost to Cyril Gane, which was kind of, it was a low blow by Dana because Derek Lewis was training for Francis, and we all know Francis' cardio isn't that good, or we thought,
And
but
he
he
blew him
improved
off, bro.
amazing. He did, but
But gains the consensus number 3, number 2 in that division because I do think Stipe is a little bit better than him. But that
Stipe is,
but it's a 3-man race right now. I think Ngannou could be beat. It
the
just
thing is,
depends. It's the circumstances and what Ngannou
and
does.
also Francis
Yeah,
keeps getting better.
Yeah.
He's lost to Derek Lewis before, but the thing is because his cardio. Francis keeps getting better. Before he was just a man, the strongest hitter ever, number one.
He's just
First, he was a
yeah.
guy that swung his arms around.
Hammer fist.
Now his Muay Thai is impeccable. He learns how to wrestle now. When
Oh,
have you seen Francis
that
wrestle?
I
That
was
was
there in
crazy.
person. I was
Took him
there in
down 3
person,
times. Yeah.
and the fight was not the most exciting, but you saw something that we haven't seen in Francis, and you saw his ground game against Gane, and
Mhm.
this is something that he's been developing with Usman and his guys. He was with Gane for a couple years training with him,
Mhm.
and you could see
Yeah.
how that helped him with the technicality.
Of course.
Ngannou's just
And
become advanced, and I think he could beat anybody in any division. I think he's the number one pound for pound fighter in the world right now.
I don't know about
Yeah,
that. I think Usman's
he's
the
a bad
pound for
fan.
pound right now.
It's
Usman's
a three
definitely
man
pound for
race.
pound. The thing
It's all
about
the
Usman is
Nigerian African guys
all
right
these
now.
Nigerians are crazy.
Yeah,
Let me tell you why. The same thing how
Cameroonian. Yeah,
Francis keeps getting better. A calm Francis is the scariest fighter on earth. Before he was a crazy, just swinging his arms around. He's a calm fighter now. He trained with Teddy Atlas, one of the best boxing trainers ever. He learned
yeah,
how to
of course,
box
of course.
smart. The thing is, bro, I don't know why. See, everyone's making mistakes. When he fought Stipe, I don't know why Stipe went in there so light. He thought he can outrun him, which he already did before. So there was no reason for him to cut so much weight. That
Yeah,
was bad on Stipe's part. Um, and also Cyril Gahn has only been doing MMA for was it a few years now.
yeah.
He's only been MMA for 3 years, and he's competing with the best heavyweight on
Dude,
earth right now.
he's crazy, man.
So imagine,
He could fight in light heavyweight right now, and I'm saying that if he
oh yeah,
cuts, he would be
that's what I'm
insane
saying.
there,
And
man.
Cyril Gahn walks around pretty lean. And if
Yeah,
Cyril Gahn, give him 3 years, bro, I think he's gonna be heavyweight champ.
yeah, yeah.
100%,
He just needs
he would
more
be heavyweight
experience.
champ.
He just needs
Because
experience.
yeah, you're telling me you guys been training MMA for 3 years and he's already competing. He took down Francis. He got a takedown on Francis and Gannon.
And let me
No,
cut you
bro.
off. Let me cut you off.
Yeah.
I love the point you're making. I think the only way to settle who fights Francis next is an interim title fight between Gane and Miocic. I think that's the only way you can do anything.
That's good,
Unless
but
Lewis does beat Tuivasa, I think then he deserves it at that point.
the
But
thing is,
yeah,
I don't like what they're doing. They should have gave Stipe his rematch because that's
no,
not fair to him.
no.
They should have gave him the third fight, or they should give Cyril Gahn his second
I
fight,
think
the rematch.
no. I think they need to fight for the interim title fight, and then I think no. Listen. I think they fight for the interim fight while that's happening,
Mhm.
while they're preparing. I think Derek Lewis, if he does win, he jumps over to fight Ngannou if Ngannou isn't hurt still, because I think he
Yeah,
had a minor injury. So if he's not hurt, I think that might happen. If Ngannou beats Lewis, then he goes on to face the winner of the interim title fight, and then that's when we see either Gainer or Miocic fighting him again. I think that's the
see,
only way you see it. Yeah.
see Cyril Gahn again. That would be a good fight interim him and Stipe.
Yeah.
That would be really good. But honestly, I think one of them deserves a rematch now. Because, bro, Dana's just honestly, I don't like what Dana's doing. He doesn't know how to choose his fights. He has some. If the guy has a belt, for instance, Dustin loses a fight to Oliveira, and now he wants him to fight Nate Diaz. That's a money fight, but that's stooping so low. He
Yeah,
give him
Nate
his
Diaz
rematch.
hasn't fought in a couple of years, man.
Give Dustin his
And
rematch.
we'll get to that in a little bit with potential matchups and stuff like that because
Yeah.
that matchup's
But
rumored
but
but isn't
but what I'm
for
saying
sure.
is
Yeah,
about how Dana's, he's lowballing all of them, man. It's not
yeah.
fair. Give them their
That's why
fights. Give
Ngannou
them
wants
their
to go box
rematches.
right now. That's why Ngannou
Yeah,
wants.
man. And honestly, I don't blame him, bro. But I really think Stipe and Francis needs to happen again because it's not fair. They gave Francis his rematch right away when he lost to Stipe. Why can't Stipe get his third? I think Stipe's taking a break right now. He's focusing on family. And the sick thing about Stipe is another job. He's a firefighter too. What a guy, or a hero.
Yeah,
Stipe's a firefighter too. He's doing that, but
he's a dope
honestly,
person.
uh, and we'll get into this later in the podcast. John Jones, we want to see him come back, but he's
And we'll
dealing
see
with all
who he
this.
fights if he's either light heavyweight or heavyweight.
He bulked to heavyweight. They were supposed to
Yeah,
fight, but something happened with his management team. He didn't give him enough
and
money,
he's
and
not a great person, human being
he's
outside of
not
the
a great
octagon.
human.
So
Outside of the octagon,
yeah,
he's dealing with a lot of.
he has a lot of demons, man. Even Dana came out and said that. But I want to move on. We're staying within 271. We're gonna go with Cannonier and Brunson. Brunson's a returning legend. Everybody, I mean, these are two of the
I
top 10
like
guys in the
Brunson a lot.
division.
I like Brunson a lot.
It's definitely a big man. It's definitely more of a upper class card where we're seeing a lot of
Oh yeah,
heavy guys.
for
I think
sure.
they want to represent a little bit with the heavier weights, especially with the recent card. We had Moreno and Figueroa steal the show.
Hmm.
We'll get to that
Yeah.
in a little bit. But
Hmm.
I just wanna ask you, who do you see taking that Cannonier versus Brunson?
Brunson, 100%. Brunson's wrestling is amazing. I think Brunson takes him to the ground.
Brunson's
You
funny
know,
as hell, man. I love
Brunson's a
Brunson,
funny
man.
dude, and he's a
Yeah.
fan favorite too. We love Brunson,
Yeah, of
but
course.
Brunson's a very good wrestler. Last time he fought Kevin Holland, we saw what happened. He toppled him, ragdolled him on the ground, just stayed on top of him the
Yeah.
whole time. Straight single legs. Wrestling is amazing, and he has a big wrestling background too, and
Yeah.
I love that about him. But the thing is, when he stands up, you got to run away from him too, because his stand up's impeccable too. You know,
Of
grew up
course,
on
of
a
course.
honestly, you don't see big guys like that with a taekwondo background, and he has one, and that is crazy to deal with. That and he can go to the ground with you. But another thing is he gasses out in his fights. Brunson gasses out quick. Him and Holland was
Yeah.
a shit show. Him and Holland, they were
Yeah.
just so tired, hugging each other on the
It's just
ground.
two swingers and two
Yeah.
very, very high profile wrestlers.
Mhm.
I just don't I don't know. I'm probably gonna lean Brunson just because of the notoriety. But this fight could go either way. I'll probably lean
Brunson's good,
Brunson because
but
Brunson. Yeah.
the thing is, even if Brunson wins, who is he gonna fight? Okay, he fights Vittori. If he beats Vittori, which I think Vittori beats him, Vittori beats him, and then who? What happens? Adesanya is gonna keep toppling over everyone in middleweight.
It's a 3-man race. Maybe Darren Tills, if he makes a comeback, Paulo Costa, maybe if they make a comeback, they'll
Darren
maybe.
Till's he's too old, man.
Yeah.
Uriah Hall wants to come back. He is gonna come back, but I don't see him touching Adesanya.
He
He's
went
too
from
short.
15 to 9.
Yeah,
That's
that's
crazy, man.
bad.
And I want to bring up somebody that's not getting that much love in this division. Like I just said, it's Marvin Vittori. He's a great fighter,
Marvin Vettori is really good. He's
and he
really
put on
good.
a show against Paulo Costa. And Paulo Costa
He
needs to move
did.
up, man. Or
He did.
he needs to move up, man. He was slow. He
Paulo
looked
Costa's really
dead.
good. But the
He
thing
looked
is,
dead in that fight. Yeah.
the thing is about middleweight, man, it's scary, bro. Like I said, the Nigerians, man, the Africans is
Yeah.
crazy. The top three, Usman, Adesanya, and Francis, they own their divisions right now. Especially middleweight is scary. No one touches Adesanya.
Yeah.
You can do like, okay,
I think
let's say
Whitaker's the closest thing, and that's it. That's the
he
only
does.
person that will touch
I
him.
think it will be a good fight, but I still have, I don't know, man. Honestly, I think
Adesanya's
Adesanya
kicking
takes
and his
it.
his let me cut you
Adesanya's
off.
striking is too
Yeah.
good.
His separation with his kicks, the separation that he creates with that, and like
Yeah.
the threat that we saw in the first fight, Whitaker was very paranoid with those kicks. He just kept on throwing those.
Yeah,
Especially,
and the thing
I
is,
love Adesanya's front kicks. I love it. I mean,
oh man, no,
the way
he has a
throws
straight
that,
Muay
yeah,
Thai background coming out
yeah.
of Thailand. The
Kickboxer. He's a
thing,
kickboxer, man.
kickboxer, yeah. The thing is about Muay Thai background. Most guys UFC have a Muay Thai background,
Yeah,
and more. I'm getting into it myself, into Muay Thai. See, the thing about it is the stance is too narrow for the UFC, and a lot of them honestly don't do that stance anymore. The only person who really sticks to that Muay Thai background stance, the narrow stance, is Adesanya, and he still kills with it, and it's insane to me because a lot of people don't do that anymore. Even the late great, like GSP, even says he can't do the Muay Thai stance because it creates too many. He'll get taken
but they're
down too
two
much.
different fighters. Adesanya is striking first. GSP can literally do anything he wants. I mean, GSP's the. We'll get to
GSP's the
that in a little
karate
bit.
background. GSP's the
Yeah.
karate background. Yeah, we'll get into that soon.
Yeah.
But and the
No,
thing
that's
is,
why I'm saying GSP can do whatever the hell he wants. I mean,
yeah,
he has everything.
Adesanya can too, but that's
Yeah.
what he wants to do. His striking's up there, and even if you go to the ground, Adesanya, black belt jiu-jitsu, crazy judo player, went to the Olympics for it.
All right.
It's still crazy.
All right, I want to move on from 271, but I just want to get your final prediction. Adesanya Whitaker, who you got?
I got Adesanya, second round TKO.
All right,
Easy.
I was gonna say the same exact thing, but I'll change it up.
Yeah.
I'll say Adesanya. I'll say it goes all the way, but I've been taking Adesanya.
You think he goes a decision?
Yeah, because I think Whitaker
Yeah.
Whitaker can wear him out a little bit if he does get past those first 2 rounds. I think those past those first 2 rounds, I think Whitaker can try to wear him out. But I mean, Adesanya has a full package.
I gotta disagree with that, man. Adesanya's cardio is amazing. The best cardio in the middle.
My fear is that Adesanya is going to try to finish the fight too early, and we've seen him do that too many times.
And he doesn't lose.
Yeah.
Except for the light heavyweight thing, but that's a fluke because he went up too fast. That was an ego thing because what do you expect him to do? Because middleweight,
he was
he's
20.
Over.
He was 20. He was
he's
19. Yeah.
The thing is, it's not. What do you want him to do though, man? He had to go do something because he's taking care of middleweight. No one's gonna beat him. Marvin Vettori, he's taken care of. And who's under Marvin Vettori that's going to beat him? Derek Brunson is not going to touch him.
Paulo Costa is dead. He needs to move back up. He took care of
Costa.
Costa needs to move back up, man.
The thing is, but he can't. Who's he going to beat though? Yeah, he's going to move. I love Paulo Costa. He's a really good fighter, crazy martial artist. Yeah. But the thing is about middleweight, it's not fair to the other guys. They move up and they have to take care of who? Adesanya, bro,
Yeah.
and they can't touch him. Adesanya literally toys with them when he fights.
The only two people I see in that division that really stand a chance is Vittori and Whitaker, and even
Yeah,
those two
and that's
guys
a
will get.
far jump because
Yeah,
Vittori got Adesanya
rock.
had fun with him in the
But
fight. Yeah,
Vittori has vastly improved. And I loved his Costa fight. I loved watching it.
hmm
He played that fight. I mean, I think that's the most perfect fight I've seen from Marvin Vittori. But I'm gonna move on
yeah.
to 272. You know that
Okay,
that's probably one of my favorite matchups this year. Two of the guys I really love in the sport. You got Covington Masvidal
Masvidal.
headlining
Okay,
March 6th, I believe, or March 5th.
March
That's
5th.
gonna be a
Yeah,
fun matchup. So I just want to ask, on a scale of like all the cards combined, 271, 272, and later we'll get to 273 right after this.
yeah.
Where do you think this stands? Because I do see it on the weaker end because I think 273 starts at it and 271 has a lot of
It's
big.
definitely a money fight, and it's because there's a story behind it. These guys are
It's top
friends, live
heavy. It's
together.
very
Yeah,
top
yeah,
heavy.
yeah.
Yeah.
They live together. They're friends. But the
Yeah.
thing is, they're fighting under, and even if they beat, let's say, I honestly I think Covington beats him because Covington stood his ground against Usman, the pound for pound best fighter right now, the best wrestler in the game is crazy. We'll talk about Usman in a second, how he
We'll
keeps
talk
getting
about
better,
pound for pound fighters later, but
but
go ahead.
I think Covington wins because Masvidal isn't calm. He's not. He's a very
But I think
he's
he
a very
can be, and if he does, I think that takes away his advantage of just being that bad mother effer that we've seen in
yeah.
BMF,
And the
man.
thing is, Covington and Masvidal have the same type of fighting style, but Covington's wrestling is much more better than Masvidal because Masvidal came from a
He's the
street fighting
CIF.
background.
He's a CIF champ, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
no,
he has that background for sure.
so I think Covington wins because number one, the striking right there is both the same. But the thing, Masvidal's heart is crazy. This kid will go with if his arm was cut off, he'll keep fighting. Same with Covington
I
too.
love both these guys both. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It'll be a really good fight. I'm taking Covington. Let me tell you why. Because you can see how they both fought the best fighter on earth right now, and you see how Covington lasted the whole round, went to decision. Even though he lost, he got his ass beat, but he won a couple rounds, which is
Yeah.
insane. He won a couple rounds. Usman's never got taken down before, and this is a really big debate that Covington did take him down in that fight, and they didn't
Yeah.
count it. He did take him down.
He did take him
He
down.
did take him down. So
And
he
I
took
think he
down the
took him
best
down
wrestler in the
multiple
game right
times.
now.
He's taken him
Yeah.
down multiple times. So
Masvidal is just, I don't know, man. Masvidal just gets rocked every time, ragdolled every time he's
but
fought Usman.
Masvidal rocks, you know what I mean? Like he rocks
Masvidal's good
guys,
too,
man.
man.
He's
Ma-
a power hitter.
Masvidal's a powerhouse too,
Yeah.
straight boxing background and a street fighting background. But when it comes to skill and precision, Covington has it double of Masvidal.
Covington is probably, in my
One of
opinion,
the most.
he's a top 5 skill fighter in the world, and
He is
without Usman,
100%.
he would be a top 3 fighter right now.
He
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 would
would
take Usman's.
rule. He would
He's
rule
just
welterweight.
he's that
He's
far
right
from
there.
Usman. He's
And
right
I don't
there.
know if you're ready for this debate. Is that Usman is definitely on PEDs and he's taking roids, which is a lot of them
Hey,
can
we'll
pass
get
on
into
that.
the
But
controversies later.
yeah,
We're gonna talk about John Jones. We'll talk about those guys,
hmm
Adesanya, especially with that the gynoplasty. What is it called? The
gynecomastia. Yeah,
I personally, obviously, I love both these guys. But
yeah,
I'm gonna lean towards the person that is probably my favorite fighter in the sport right now, and that's Colby Covington. He's a very
100%.
controversial figure. Likes to call everybody out. But one thing he does is he's a fighter, man. He's a dog. He he
He's a
he
dog.
he could stand against any fighter in the business right now, and he would probably take him all the way.
hmm
He should be a champion right now, and I think if he moves to any other division besides maybe middleweight and then heavyweight, I think he could do it if obviously the right circumstances, because he can't just go up to
Yeah,
lightweight and then he can't go to light heavyweight. But I think he could move. He could even move down a division, and he could
hmm
dominate. Uh,
100%.
yeah. I just love Covington. I think his striking is by far a top 5 striker in the UFC right now. And
100%.
I think he's a top 10 wrestler. So that combination is almost like offense and defense, where
Yeah, no,
you have the whole package. My one issue with Covington is that he's sometimes a little too patient, especially in the Usman fight. I think he had a couple chances where he could have pounced
hmm
on Usman,
he,
but
he
he
definitely
was
what he
waiting.
did, but
Yeah,
uh,
and that fight was closer than a lot of people think because I think it went 3-2 to
yeah,
Usman. And I
Co-
think there
co-
was an argument to make that Covington might have won that fight if he was a little bit more aggressive. He was not the more aggressive
yeah,
fighter. It was Usman, and that's not something we thought we would see. as far as Masvidal, I think he's
Yeah,
fallen off a little
he
bit.
had to change,
Yeah.
his pace for this fight because the past fights he was too aggressive and
Yeah.
Usman caught him and Usman ragdolled him and he took him to the ground and he toppled on him, which is scary, man. You don't want Usman to take you to the ground. You're
Yeah.
helpless. Usman's a little, of
He's
course,
the
not a
best.
better
He's the
wrestler
best.
than Khabib, but
He's
he's
the
the best
best
wrestler.
wrestler.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about Masvidal really quickly. Just touch on that. I love Masvidal, but he's fallen off a cliff as far as production in the past 2 years. And I know it's a small sample size because you're fighting Usman 2 times out of those, 2 fights.
100%.
But I mean, what I saw with Till and the amount of striking precision he put on him in
Oh yeah,
Liverpool in Till's home stadium, that crowd was electric. I remember watching
crazy.
that fight, man. It's just kind of it was he embarrassed him, and now he's getting embarrassed by the best in the world. So it
100%.
it definitely took a shot at Masvidal's ego, and he took a little bit of time off. But I think if he comes out strong and I think if he stays patient, if he stays more patient than Covington, I think that's a way where he could maybe sneak out a victory. But I will take
He
Covington.
could.
Yeah.
And the thing is, man, that welterweight division, same thing with middleweight. It's a sick
So
division,
stacked, man.
but the thing is, man, you got Usman there, and no
And
one's
everybody
touching him.
else. Maybe
No one's
Covington.
touching him.
It's Usman, Covington, and everybody else, man.
That the welterweight is sick, man.
Yeah. You got Leon
Jorge,
Edwards.
you have Leon and Jorge.
Yeah.
Nate Diaz fought
And
there
you
too.
got comes out coming up, which we're gonna talk about him
You
later
can't
for
forget
sure.
about Wonder Boy too.
Yeah,
Wonder Boy's in there too.
Wonder Boy's
Wonder Boy's is getting
declining.
old.
He's old,
He's
man.
getting old, man. That's how fighters are, man.
You got
But for an
Bilal.
old guy,
You got Bilal
Bilal
too.
Muhammad, Bilal
Yeah.
Muhammad's there. Looks
Gilbert
really
Burns.
good.
Hey, don't sleep on my boy, Brazilian. That's my
And
guy. That's my guy.
Gilbert Burns is a homie.
I
And
like him.
yeah, it comes out Makachev, up and coming. I think a few years better than Usman. But you got to give him time.
Yeah.
No one thought
I think
Usman would be the best.
he's lightweight, right?
No, he's in the welterweight division.
No, he's lightweight. I thought.
Comes out Shemaev is in
Oh,
welterweight.
Kamzat's
Yeah, yeah.
welterweight. You were talking about Islam.
No, Islam is
Yeah.
lightweight. Islam too. We can change topics to who do you think is the future goats? Future champs coming up.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But I just want to. Okay, since I think we're pretty clear that Covington's gonna probably
I
beat
think Covington takes it.
favorably. I
It
want to
could
talk.
go the whole way.
Yeah, I want to talk about the. I mean, obviously, we're gonna skip over the Makachev fight night.
Yeah,
Who's he fighting?
I'm not sure. We could
Okay, we
recheck
don't have
that.
to really worry about that. But we got Volkanovski and the Korean Zombie. That's a fun fight, man.
That's going to be a really good fight.
273.
Volkanovski.
And then on the co-main event, we got Sterling and Jan, which is the most anticipated fight. Even though the division has fallen off a little bit, I do think that Jan is probably one of the top 10 talents in the world right now.
Right now, yeah, I'll definitely put him as a top 10 fighter. Sterling, really good fighter, man, but Peter Yan was ragdolling in that last fight.
Jan is
it was
dominant.
Peter Yan's fault. Threw an illegal knee. That's his fault. He got to know the rules, but he was too aggressive fighting with his rage, like you said. But Sterling, man, he took a little pansy way out. How he's had a neck injury for like a few years, and the one time he wants to get the surgery is when he's holding the belt. Now he left it. I don't like that, But Peter Yan's gonna get his belt back. I think it could go the whole way. Sterling is a tough guy. Now I don't think he's a better martial artist than Yan, but I think the fight could go a decision. And I think Peter Yan takes his easy, unanimous.
And as far as the cards that we've talked about so far, although I do see this as one of the more high profile cards, we got Sterling Yan, we got Volkanovski, Korean Zombie, we got
Kevin Gastelum.
Kevin Gastelum's making his return, which we're going to talk about. We got Aspen Ladd, Mackenzie Dern, pretty big fighters in the women's division, women's side of UFC.
Women's side of UFC is
I do think this card will underwhelm a lot of people. I do think the prelims and the lower main event card or main cards are good fights. I don't think that those two main events will be that great because I think Volkanovski is a little bit slow fighter, slow pace, grappling. He likes to wear you out. Korean Zombie is going to be fun, but I just don't think that fight's going to go very long. I think Volkanovski will take him out.
Volkanovski will take him out.
And I think Jan's going to pounce on Sterling. And and the most exciting fight I see is probably Gastelum because he's making a return, and Gastelum is one of the most fun fighters we've ever seen in the sport. So yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, no, I think, and then after this, I think Max Holloway should get his rematch.
He should have already, but that's a different. He's hurt. So
he's hurt. Whatever, he's hurt. But Dana is also not giving him what he deserves.
Yeah, he
I don't know why.
Waited. He should have waited, but
and they keep giving Max Holloway fight nights. I don't like that, man. Give him his card.
Yeah, here, man. Hey, by the way, one of the most fun fight nights we've seen in a
Oh
long
man,
time.
him and the one when him
And
and Calvin
Rodriguez
Gator
and
and Max
Rodriguez.
Holloway. Yeah, and that one too was sick.
Holloway's a dog, right?
One of my favorites, man. He's a dog. He will fight anyone anywhere, and he will take you the whole way. He's prepared to die in the fight. He will
He's
die in the
yeah.
octagon.
And
Max
but
Holloway is very
Volkanovski's on.
technical.
I love Max Holloway, but Volkanovski just style
Volkanovski's
of matchups and everything. He's just a better fighter.
100%.
Yeah,
But
striking the difference between the striking and like the defense and like grappling and ground game. Volkanovski's just so far ahead, man.
Volkanovski has all that.
He's,
But Max
yeah.
Holloway striking's right there too.
And
Max
Eddie
Holloway is
McLean
one of
that
the
fight.
fastest strikers. Yeah, man. I think Volkanovski also better. Max Holloway's getting a little older.
Holloway got to
You know,
protect himself, man. He's gonna leave.
he's too aggressive. Well, that's
He
good.
doesn't protect himself. He's always bruised. I've
Yeah,
never seen
man.
Max Holloway never like be hurt in
Well,
a fight
it's just
before.
how it is, man. The UFC they get hurt, but Max, I don't think he has to change up his style. He has to change up his pace. How
I
fast
think
he's too
I think he
aggressive.
needs to add things to his repertoire. I know it's a little too
Yeah,
late, but I do think he needs to learn some sort of blocking. His technique with blocking is not good. He gets battered and beat up.
yeah.
So
Well, it depends. Standing up, yeah. When he goes to the ground, Max is definitely sometimes not helpless, but against Volkanovski, I don't think Max can take him on the ground
and speaking of
as much.
Volkanovski versus Korean Zombie, who do you guys
That's
think
gonna
in
be
that
a
fight?
really good
Yeah,
fight.
I think
I
Volkanovski is
have
gonna blow him out of the water. Yeah,
Volkanovski by a
it's
long
obvious.
shot, a
Yeah.
landslide. Yeah.
I want to keep this moving a little bit because we've been on this topic for a little while.
Yeah.
So just really quickly, top three fights. I think, although I think Rosenstrike, it's a good fight. I think he'll take it pretty easily.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
even though Tybura is solid,
Hmm.
he's a little lower in that division. But I think let's go with okay. So Volkanovski, we both got Volk.
We
And
got
we got
Volk.
Sterling Yan. I think it's pretty clear that we both
Jan's
have
gonna
Yan.
take care of that. I
Yeah,
have Torres is gonna win 100%.
Torres. Okay.
She's really good. Kevin Gastelum's coming back. I mean, he took a little break. He lost one of the most entertaining fights I've seen him and Adesanya. One of the most entertaining
Oh,
fights
I
I've
missed
seen in the
that fight,
sport.
man.
Yeah, man. I
Was
think
that the one where Adesanya took the belt?
Adesanya took the belt,
Yeah,
and when he defended his belt, and then
yeah,
Adesanya, as they're going in the fifth round, they're in their corners. They look at each other. Adesanya
yeah,
looks at him and he says, "I'm prepared to die." He's, "I'm
yeah,
prepared to die. You're not beating me."
yeah.
And he won, bro.
One of the most iconic things we've seen. And Adesanya, much like Conor McGregor, is one of the most polarizing figures. Style bender.
100% style bender.
He's mixing the anime side. He's bringing a lot of eyes to the sport. Yeah, All right, so I want to move on. We're just on the topic with John Jones, right? And
Oh yeah.
yeah, and we need to see his potential matchup. So I want to ask you, guys like the John
So
Jones, guys like a Conor McGregor, who do you see them fighting in the near future?
okay, we'll start with John Jones.
And yeah, and when do
The
you see
thing,
him
the thing,
returning
the
though?
thing about
Yeah,
John Jones is, man, arguably the best fighter ever, the best martial artist
yeah.
ever. He just has issues, man. He is honestly in his head. He's a psycho. He deals. He keeps dealing with these battery charges and these DUIs he's getting. He's got to clean that up. The thing is, but he said he's one of the best fighters. Where like if other fighters did what he's doing, Dana would not let him come back.
Consensus
Like
top three in my opinion, but
yeah, you
yeah.
don't think John Jones is number one best
My
fighter
my
all time?
problem is that I do think GSP is better than him. And although what John Jones good
GSP
at
is
is
my favorite
game,
fighter too, man.
it's just what kills me is the off off ring off court stuff. I guess that's more of a basketball term, but
Yeah.
that just ruins everything. Because if he doesn't do that stuff, by far it's like he's miles
Well,
ahead of
as
everybody else.
if you take him outside of the octagon, forget about who he is in the octagon, bro. I love GSP. Is my favorite fighter, and the thing is, GSP is like one of the nicest people on earth. But John Jones, man, is undefeated. The
I
one
don't
loss
know
he
what
has,
you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. GSP, man, too nice of a guy. One of the best fighters ever. He's number two. You could time with number one, but John Jones, I think, is the best fighter to ever step in the octagon.
I'm gonna bring up John Jones like recent fights because I kind of forgot he hasn't fought in 3 years.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years.
I think 2018, 2019, something like that was his last fight against
Hmm.
Reyes. Or who was
Hmm.
it? Yeah. I mean, bro, it's been so long that I just don't know if you could. He's definitely pales in comparison to GSP on the longevity side. The only
Hmm.
reason without that last title regain from what's his face? My God.
Gustafson. He never
Oh
lost
no
his
no no.
title.
I'm talking about GSP. Who do
Oh
you think?
yeah, when he lost,
Well,
the
where
one
he
time he lost, he lost to Matt
Matt
Hughes and he
Hughes
got it
and
back,
Matt
and then
Serra,
Matt
but
Serra.
he
But
loves
the
losing to
thing,
Mats, man.
yeah, the thing
Yeah,
about GSP is he never loses twice. You can beat
yeah.
him, and the one time he lost, I believe the first time he lost to Matt Serra was he was going through stuff. You know, his dad was very sick. His friend passed away. He bounced back, came back to the sport, and he took care of business. He never lose a fight twice. Never. GSP. That's one thing he never does. He is so smart. He's so technical. The thing is, he doesn't have a wrestling background at all. Came in the UFC, one of the best grapplers you'll ever see, one of the best wrestlers in the UFC.
One of the
You will
best
see.
strikers I've ever watched with the combo.
100%. The
Bro,
karate
he
background,
has everything. He has everything, man.
everything,
And
down
on
to
top
a
of that, he
T.
has the respect, and he's a good human being. So,
Great human being.
with all that said, I'm taking GSP number one, and I do think it's close. But I don't think you could take. I don't think you could take John Jones, even though John Jones has the case by far. I think he has a case. It's just there's no way in my mind that I think GSP is number two under somebody that's done such bad in his life. Even though
Okay,
John Jones is undefeated, he has that one no
so
contest. But
this is the thing. John Jones defended his title 14 times.
yeah,
14 times. GSP has done it 13.
youngest champ
Right
ever.
there. Youngest champ ever. So the thing is, John Jones, man, is the craziest fighter. No one has Gustafson, one of the best fights. The first one, Gustafson, John Jones won, was the craziest, one of the craziest. I think honestly you could put up there one of the best fights in the UFC.
Hmm.
Um, but he's also came close to losing. But I think John Jones is one of the best martial artists to ever live. And then but this is my list. GSP is my favorite fighter, but I can't be biased towards it. Where John Jones is number one, I have GSP number two because he has 13 dollar defenses.
Hmm.
You can't forget about Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson,
I do
number
think
12.
I
He
do
got
think he
12
might be
power
right
defenses.
out. When I share my
He,
list, I'll say
I'll
why.
put him
Yeah.
number three. Four, Anderson Silva, the Spider. You have to.
Okay.
You have to. And then
Okay.
this is going to turn a lot of heads. Jose Aldo at number 5. He has defended his title 8 times. He lost to Connor. Before that, one of the best fighters
And
to
why didn't he
ever
get his
walk in.
rematch, man? Why didn't he get his rematch?
He's getting old. Right now, he's doing great.
It's
And
stupid, man.
a
They
lot
should
of
have
people are
rematched
going to
him
give
right
him.
away.
They
No, they
should
should
have.
have rematched right away. I don't care
They
what
should have.
anybody
But
says, man.
he was getting Connor was stepping up in the division, and Dana liked how Connor was bringing in money for the UFC.
A
Everyone loved
lot,
Connor, turning heads. But
bro.
let's not
That
get off
cash,
topic.
bro. The cash flow.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
know.
so
And then
yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I forgot.
so that's my top 5: John Jones,
Yeah.
GSP, Mighty Mouse, Anderson Silva, Jose Aldo. That's a really good top 5 because I'm going by statistics as title defenses, and this is why you don't see Khabib in there. Khabib, I love Khabib. I think the best wrestler ever in the
There's no
UFC.
notoriety to see
Most
his fight.
dominant fighter, but he fought
Nobody.
nobody's early in his career.
And
Nobody.
even Justin Gaethje he's good. He's
He's a
not
good
that good of
fighter,
a
but
title defense.
and Khabib doesn't.
An
It's hard.
aging
That's a
Conor
big debate.
McGregor, an aging not an aging because Dustin Poirier is still a great fighter. It's just Dustin Poirier at that time was still learning, still getting
Yeah,
back
he
on
was
track.
young,
Yeah.
but I
Okay.
still think Khabib can come back and dominate lightweight if he wants,
Okay.
easily. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my top 5. John Jones and GSP. That's more on the person. Whoever they like more, they can
That's
switch that
one
up.
A one. That's 1A 1B. And
But
yeah.
the thing is that John Jones never lost. He's lost to Matt Hamill as a disqualification for 9 to 12
And
elbow, which
obviously,
is that
Daniel
was stupid.
Cormier.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
no, he hasn't lost to DC. No, he hasn't. He
Well,
beat.
no, it was the drug. But did they
Oh, you know.
dispute
Oh
that?
no, no. He
It
just
was
got
like the
he
pregnancy.
popped for drugs. Yeah. He
Yeah.
popped, but the fight never happened. But yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Or yeah, you're right. I'm retarded. No, no, it was after the
Okay.
fight. They figured. I don't know. I'm mixing
No,
up
it's
stuff right
okay.
now.
It's okay.
All
It's
right.
okay. Your
All right.
list.
So this is my list, and as much as I love watching John Jones fight,
Hmm.
to me he is not number one. So I'm just gonna start by saying GSP to me is my consensus is number one.
Hmm.
I think as much as I love who John Jones has fought, Daniel Cormier, Shogun's amazing, Gustafsson twice, but then after that it's like Rashad Evans, and then you have maybe an aging Vitor Belfort, and then that's about it.
Hmm.
Maybe there's a couple of guys in there. But with GSP, you have Matt Hughes twice, and I know he lost to him once, but he avenged that. and
Yeah, but okay.
he got
You finish.
he got BJ Penn, one of the most fun fighters I've ever seen in my life. I didn't
One
watch
of the
him.
best ever too.
Yeah, and one of the funnest I've ever watched, like clips and everything like that. He got Michael
Mhm.
Bisping, obviously one of our
And
favorite people.
he went up a weight class too.
You got Johnny Hendricks, who arguably lost to, but that's a different thing for a different day. But that's a
Yeah.
great fighter. And then you have Josh Koscheck twice.
Mhm.
And then he did beat Matt Serra, who just stole the title from him. That's not a notable fight, but that's something that he really needed after
Mhm.
after all the adversity. I do think those two losses compared to John Jones, obviously with 0, they're staying on his record. But I don't think I think that especially the Matt Serra one's a fluke for sure. The Matt
Yeah.
Hughes one, when you're losing to Matt Hughes, I don't think it's that big of a deal, and especially when you get your title back. But
Well,
yeah,
Matt Hughes was one of the best at the time.
yeah, Matt Hughes
Arguably,
is
people
arguably
will put
top
him.
5. Yeah, he's an
Yeah.
arguable
So
top 5 fighter
no, and
ever.
GSP was just learning at the time, and GSP
Yeah,
never loses twice. So no, that's definitely not like, oh, that was a nobody he lost to.
yeah.
No, he lost to the
Matt
champ and
Hughes
one of the
was
best
the most
fighters. Yeah,
dominant fighter at that time, and I
and best
okay,
welterweights.
yeah. All right, number 3, and I know you left him off your list. I'm going Khabib, and that's because in my lifetime he's the most dominant.
Yeah.
He's the one, like, in the last 5 years, which is like when I've
Hmm.
been starting to pay attention more. John Jones hasn't really been in the sport as much. Khabib, when I see with my own eyes, I don't think there's any. If he fought longer, there's nobody that beats him. There's nobody. There's 0 people
Hmm.
that beat him, and I understand. He didn't fight that many guys. He was 13-0 in the UFC. That, I mean, 13-0 says it itself, but he only fought really like McGregor, Poirier, Gaethje, like Dos Anjos,
He
and
fought
then
Edson Barbosa too, which was a really
yeah.
good fight. Edson Barbosa was one of the best strikers in the
But
division.
Barbosa's not somebody that's gonna beat Khabib. You know what
No,
I
no,
mean?
no. Khabib beat Barbosa, and then he fought Connor for the belt.
Am I forgetting anybody else he fought? Did he fought? He never fought Holloway. I
Uh,
thought that was something that he might have, but
they were. It
yeah.
was gonna happen, but
Yeah,
Holloway got
and then
injured,
it
and it
switched
never
it
happened.
switched to Ferguson, and then that one
And
never
that
happened,
never happened. Yeah, that
which
was.
is
I
which is
think, of course, Khabib
that
would have beat him,
hurts.
but
Yeah,
that was prime Tony. I think Tony would have put up a good fight because he's a dog,
yeah.
man.
El Kukui.
He'll go. Kukui, man. He'll go until the end.
Okay, number 4. This is not gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna switch my 3 and 4. I'm gonna put Anderson Silva at number 3. I
That's a
think
good choice. I
that's
like
probably one of the
Anderson.
That's probably the best. That's probably another one of those best fighters I've ever seen off clips. I've never really watched him before, but
Hmm.
even now he's kicking ass at 40 years old in boxing,
Yeah, for
40
sure.
plus, and then his repertoire of guys he's beat. He has he has the most legendary fight in UFC history. I think that's number
Hmm.
1 for me is him and Chael Sonnen where he chokes him out after losing that fight all 4
100%.
rounds where he chokes him. I think that's probably the one that's in my opinion the most iconic UFC fight before the Conor McGregor knockouts.
Hmm.
And then he fought Dan Henderson. He fought
Isaiah
Vitor Belfort.
Harrison, Forrest
Yeah.
Griffin.
Rich Franklin twice, and then Chael Sonnen twice. You know,
Yeah.
his
Nick
undefeated streak.
Diaz too. Can't forget about that.
It sucks how his career ended. So that's why
A
I'm gonna put
lot.
him at 4.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was coming to an end, and I think that he wanted to go out with a bang, and he wasn't gonna be like one of those dudes that I'm not gonna risk my record. He went out. He really
Yeah.
went for it. He really went for that, and he lost to what's his face who he just fought the other day. What's his
Anderson
name?
Silva.
No,
Who did he
who
fight
yeah. Who did he lose to is
in boxing? Or he's lost to Adesanya.
no who
He's
he
lost to Uriah Hall.
who's the first one that he lost to though? Who's the
It
first
was.
guy? It
I'm
was
not sure,
in
man.
the title fight. Shoot, he just fought the other day. I'm
He.
forgetting so much stuff right now.
Oh, Anderson Silva. Who are you
Yeah,
talking about?
who did he lose to
I'm
in
not
his?
sure. He hasn't fought in the UFC in a while. He moved to boxing.
Hold on, who did he lose to though? It was a lot. It was his first ever loss.
I don't think Nick beat him. Or did he? I think Nick
It
beat him.
was
No,
he
he
just
didn't.
fought the other day. Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman.
Oh
That's what I was
yeah,
trying
yeah,
to think of.
yeah, yeah.
Chris Weidman's,
Oh
by the
yeah,
way,
yeah.
one of the most fun fighters we ever. He's
Oh
a
yeah,
dog.
100%.
You know, Anderson Silva's lost a lot, and I know it was during the end of his
Well,
career.
it's
So that's
because
why. Yeah.
yeah, because a lot of fighters are scared to step away from the sport. And the thing about UFC, man, when you're in your head, and if you're getting old and you don't have the confidence anymore, you start losing. It's a downhill
Yeah.
slope,
100%.
and it's over. It's over after that. And he couldn't. He just kept losing. And who's your number 5?
And to round out my list, I'm gonna give a honorary shout out because this is mostly males. But I'm gonna give it to Amanda Nunez. I know she just lost right now, and
Okay. Yeah.
that's even though we're not talking about women. She
Mm-hmm.
deserves to be up there. She's the most
100%.
dominant woman fighter we've ever seen. But I'm probably gonna
100%.
have to go with Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius Johnson. I don't know. I just
Yeah,
had a
yeah,
tongue
yeah,
twister.
yeah,
I mean, the dudes that he's beat, Henry Cejudo, probably the second best in that division
yeah.
ever.
100%. Henry Cejudo's making his comeback too.
Benavidez twice, by the way. I remember those fights. I remember
Mm-hmm.
watching those fights. I think he fought Dodson, and then like he fought a couple other guys. You know that those divisions weren't really that good. And then
Mm-hmm.
after he left, where you got see the TJ Dillashaws, you see
Yeah.
the Cody Garbrandts, you see those guys in the division. But while he was there, nobody beat him. I think he has the second highest active titled.
Yeah. He has 12. He's a third.
Yeah, I
He has
think
12 title defenses.
yeah. So, I think if he comes back to the UFC right now, he could challenge whoever's
Well,
the
he's
champion.
fighting in the another division, another
Yeah.
company
But
called
but
One.
but he agreed that he said he would come back at the end of his contract, he
He
said.
might. He might
Which
come
I would
back.
love to see.
I would love to see it too, man, but I think he's too old for that. It's gonna ruin his record.
I regardless, he's number 5 and I
But
want to
we'd
give
love to
another
see that.
I want to give another shout out to somebody which is Henry Cejudo.
Henry Cejudo's up there.
Three division champion?
Three division, yeah.
Which is he's the only person to ever do that, which is insane,
Hmm.
man. Like I just want to give a quick shout out to him. He's not number 6 either. He's not number 7, but he is somebody that
No,
deserves to be.
I put Stipe number 6.
Yeah, no,
Honestly,
no. I'm gonna put Amanda Nunez number 6, but if
yeah,
we're
he's
just talking
number
about
6.
strictly men, I'm putting Stipe and then Cormier and then Cejudo because Cejudo didn't have that much competition besides Cruz,
Hmm.
Johnson, and then
You're
he
not gonna
fought.
put Jose Aldo up there, man. Eight title defenses.
You're right, but to me, Jose Aldo, that's his latter half of his career is what killed him, kind of, and then he's
Yeah.
improving now. Just more,
Hmm.
much like Silva. The Silva was the face of the UFC for a lot of years,
Yeah.
besides GSP, and like I think his early part of his career, Silva was the first part of his career of Silva's is way better than Aldo's first part, even though
And
Aldo's one of the greatest ever.
yeah, that's the big difference in the debates of who's the GOAT is their first fights. That's why a lot of people see that. That's why I'm disagreeing with you and putting Khabib number 3 because his first fights were nobodies.
It's just Khabib. When you're looking at it, I know the accolades don't speak it, but he was the
He is.
best. He's the
Yeah.
most dominant, and that's why I'm putting him at number 3. And I know it might be a little bit
No, it's a good
recency
choice.
bias,
No, it's a very
but I'm
good
gonna
choice.
put him in that list. And that's the one that shocked me a little bit because I don't think he's better than Demetrius Johnson. No offense to Mighty Mouse, man.
Oh,
But Mighty Mouse didn't really fight anybody
opinion.
in that. Yeah, it's just all. Don't forget about Marlon, by the way. And the little dude. I was just it just popped in my brain. I know he fought
Marlon,
Marlon Marlon Morez, something like that. I
I'm
forgot
not
what it was.
sure.
Yeah, no, he fought him. He fought him and he fought Cejudo and Johnson, which were really fun fights.
Hmm.
So and
And
then
then,
yeah,
do you want to jump to the? We kind of skipped the topic to the potential matchups. We'll end it off for John Jones
yeah.
and
So we
Connor's
were talking about
potential
our top
matchup.
fives, but speaking of John Jones, obviously we were just talking
Yeah,
about him.
of course.
So I wanted to ask you, what do you see as
So I
potential fights
definitely
for him?
see John Jones and Francis. That'd be a money fight.
Money
Hopefully
fight,
Dana can give him. The
money
thing is,
fight,
the
but just
only
an insane matchup.
it would
Yeah,
be the best fight ever. You have
yeah,
the strongest puncher on earth,
yeah.
which is getting better. Now you see he's very smart. He's calm. He can wrestle now. That is scary. If John Jones fought Francis 2 years ago, John Jones would, I think, take him right away.
Yeah.
The thing is, and we also don't know if John Jones can move up a weight class and do what he did at light heavyweight. We
Maybe
saw
we
what
see maybe we see a Stipe Ngannou fight, and then we see a John Jones gain, or maybe Stipe
I would love
John
a
Jones.
Stipe John Jones. I thought they were going to do that.
I think John
I
Jones
thought,
needed to prove himself first, rather than just get the money
yeah.
grab. I
Well,
think
the
he
thing
needs
is,
to prove himself first.
the only way these fights would have happened if Dana, the first time it didn't happen is because John Jones' management team wanted more money and they said something wrong. But if Dana doesn't give John Jones what he wants, then he won't do the fight, which John Jones deserves whatever he's asking. Everyone on earth would watch the strongest fighter and the
He doesn't.
heavyweight champ versus the best fighter ever.
I don't know
They
if
would
he.
pay anything.
I don't know if he deserves what because of what's been recent
Yeah, he has
news.
that. That's the thing. I
That's
don't
what
know
kills
if
it. That's what everything, man.
that's what kills it.
He ruined what.
But
he literally
people,
he crashed into somebody earlier
yeah,
this
and
year,
he beat an
and
old
and
lady.
and then he beat an old lady, and then he beat his wife. Technically, I don't know if she didn't press charges. She's still with him.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just crazy to me, man, how this dude still has a reputation
yeah,
and
man.
that he's
It's
coming back. In my opinion, he shouldn't be allowed to come back. He shouldn't be allowed to even touch any sort of fame. He should be with his family at all
I agree
times.
with you on that. Yeah,
Yeah, I think he should step away from everything, man. And although I would love to see, if we're talking about dream matchups, that's a dream matchup. Even a steep, I would take a Stipe John Jones
well, it's
fight.
happened. It could happen. It was gonna happen, but John
Yeah.
Jones messed it up, and then he did what he did outside of the octagon with the battery and assault and the DUIs. But I think, and we'll talk about if John Jones and Francis fought. Now that is, I don't know. If you
Yeah.
told me a year ago, I'd take John Jones like that. But I don't know, man. Francis has proved himself, improved striking, improved patience, improved ground game. It's crazy. And
Yeah.
John Jones, we don't know if he's moving around just as fast as he was at light heavyweight. Like how we saw Adesanya went up to light heavyweight, and this is the craziest thing about that fight was John Blauschwitz in the light heavyweight division when
Yeah.
he fought Adesanya. Adesanya kept kicking him with leg
Yeah.
kicks, calf
But that
kicks, and
doesn't work. It doesn't
it
work
didn't because he's
because
too
he's too
big. And
big.
some
Yeah.
people, the reason why they fight, they stay in a weight class because their body
Yeah.
types are built for that. So I don't know. I honestly think it would be a good fight. I think John Jones could take it all the way. But the thing is, John Jones is a very aggressive fighter. And knowing who he is, he will go for the knockout. And if he gets caught slipping once, I think Francis knocks him out. That's the scary thing
No,
about Francis.
I definitely agree with you. All right, since we're on the topic of greatest of all time, John Jones, I want to talk about another person that's rumored to make his comeback, and we just
Hmm.
talked about him, Henry Cejudo, three-time champ. You know
I'll
what I
be.
mean? Who would
Hmm.
you like to see him fight? Because I know we're seeing now Dominic Cruz just fought, a couple cards ago, and he looked good. He looked really good. TJ Dillashaw's coming back from injury. He was supposed to come back earlier. And
Yeah.
then, would you like to see something like that, or would you like to even see him maybe move up and then Connor move down? And now we have that matchup that we've always wanted. So
Hmm.
it's just a matter of what certain fighters are willing to do. And I would even like to see a Cejudo versus the winner of Sterling Yon fight. So
That would be awesome.
so you tell
But
me what you'd like to see for
for
him at least.
Cejudo,
Yeah,
honestly, man, for Cejudo, man, that's a crazy comeback. He's getting old. I don't know if he could. If he comes back, he's coming back at flyweight, I believe, isn't he? If he's coming back
yeah.
flyweight,
Yeah. It's been
it,
it's
if
it's only been about 2 years though, 3 years.
yeah, he
So
could. If he comes back flyweight, I don't know what Dana's gonna give him.
maybe bantamweight. Actually, I don't know.
If he
'Cause,
comes back flyweight, I think Alex Perez is a good fight for him. You can't give him the title right away. I think he has to earn that back. Give him Alex Perez. If he beats him, because there's gonna be Roy Brandon Roy is really good too, but I don't see him beating Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo beats him, then you see if he
yeah.
fights Moreno or Figueredo, which I don't know. They still have to fix their tiebreaker because right now it's 1-1 and a draw. I think the first time in UFC history we should get a fourth fight for those two. And then I don't know, man. It's crazy that he's even coming back. And if he comes back to bantamweight,
And we
he could
see,
fight Garbrandt. I think Cody and Garbrandt and Henry Cejudo will be a sick fight.
and
Turn
you know
heads.
what? Garbrandt is like he's just bad, man. But I saw him.
He's
He
not
was
bad. He's
really
getting
bad.
old, man. He's
No,
just
no. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Against Kai Car France, man, he looked terrible, man. He was bad. He looked dead. So that's why I think he probably should just move back up to
or
bantamweight.
if he fights
No, no.
Dillashaw,
He was too big. Sorry. Wait, did he move down from featherweight or I forgot what it was.
who Corey Sandhagen stayed in the bantamweight
No,
division.
no. I'm
And
talking about
Henry Cejudo. Henry
uh
Cejudo's last
Cody
fight,
Garbrandt.
Cody Garbrandt. Yeah, he went. Actually, right now, I think he
He
wanted to
fought.
fight flyweight, but
He was too big. He was too big. I think he went up a division. So he went down a division because
no,
he
no,
went
he
from
went down.
bantamweight.
He went down. But now
Oh
he's
yeah.
in bantamweight. He took a fight. He lost. Now Cody Garbrandt, I think
Okay.
definitely be a good fight for Henry Cejudo, or Corey Sandhagen versus Henry Cejudo would be good.
No.
You can't because you can't give him a title when he comes back. Because right
That's
now
true,
the
but
next
I think Sanhagen wipes him out in that quick
the
because
next because the
Sanhagen's
next.
too long for him. No,
I
like
mean, what do you his reach? No, man. Henry
Sanhagen's
Cejudo can
so
definitely keep up with him.
long, man. He's so skilled, and I think you could even make a case for bantamweight, especially because TJ Dillashaw hasn't fought. He's probably the second or third best guy in the division, honestly. Maybe not better than Aldo. And you know,
And,
by the way,
and you still have Dillashaw there too.
bantamweight is a underrated division. You know how good and deep that division is. You have guys like Jan,
100%.
Sterling, Aldo, Dillashaw, Sanhagen, Rob Font, who's amazing.
Rob Font is sick.
Marab, I met him by the way. He's a cool dude. Then you have
Mhm.
Dominic Cruz, who's making his comeback, like I said. Cheeto Vera, I love him, man. And then you have Marlon
Rivera is awesome.
Morez, like I was saying earlier. Frankie Edgar. You have Sean O'Malley, and then you have some okay guys at the end of that. You know, Ricky Simon's good, but
Mhm.
I mean, like it's just that division's gaining a lot of bantamweight's probably the funnest division that in the UFC right now. If we're just talking about based
100%.
off like watchability, is that even a word? But I want to talk about another guy in the division, which is Jose Aldo. Would you like to
Jose
see him?
Aldo.
Who would you like to see him fight? Do you want to see him in a title fight?
Jose
Maybe
Aldo for the title fight, and
maybe a Cejudo.
that would be a crazy ass fight. That's a money grabber too. Jose
That's a
Aldo
fight
versus Cejudo.
a lot of
That's
nostalgia
good
fans
too.
want to see.
And then to end off the podcast, would you like to talk about Connor's potential matchups too?
I would love to. You know,
Tony
yeah.
Ferguson. I think Tony Ferguson is a really good fight for him because think about Conor, man, he's getting old. He fell off. He fell off bad. And I really think for Conor that he needs to stop trying to fight for the title. I think he's done. The game has changed too much from when he took a break. Especially, I don't see, man. Conor's old, bro. He's getting old. His skill level isn't there anymore, man. The game keeps getting better, and he's not improving with it. He's just on a downfall. So I think he needs to stop trying to fight the best and just take a good fight. Him and Tony, perfect
Yeah.
fight. Him and Nate Diaz, 3, perfect fight. I would do that.
I think he's a definitely a tier above Tony Ferguson. I think Tony Ferguson's he's not good
Tony
anymore, man.
Ferguson hasn't won too. Tony Ferguson hasn't won in a while.
But
So has Conor.
Conor McGregor can I believe he can stand his ground over somebody
He could
like a
definitely.
Dan Hooker or somebody like a Dos Anjos. I think he can. I would love to see a Michael Chandler
I
and
don't
Conor
know.
McGregor fight.
I think Dan Hooker kills Conor, and this is why
No,
his
but I
reach
do
and his
love Dan
height is
Hooker.
too much better. Can I tell you why? Dan Hooker has sparred with Adesanya and
Yeah.
showed his power, and he's beat Adesanya in sparring. He's actually, it's crazy, man. I'm telling you, bro. I do not think.
Dan Hooker got eaten alive by Makachev. He got eaten alive.
Yeah, but okay, that's Islam, though. We're talking about Conor. Conor's not even close to these guys' levels. Like, okay, you put Conor against Michael Chandler, he will get rocked. He can't take the dominance.
I don't
Right now,
know.
Conor McGregor will get
Can I
rocked.
tell you why? Can I tell you why? Because what I saw in that Gaethje fight, I think Michael Chandler, personally, right now at his age, I think he'd rather go for the fame and the notoriety on that fight and want to put on a show. And I think he'll drag it on a little too long for McGregor to finish it off. Something like that could happen. I'm not saying it will. Chandler's a good fighter. But when when he doesn't protect himself, like in that Gaethje fight, he was getting hit, man. I just watched that fight about a week ago.
Yeah.
But if that fight drags on for too long, I think Connor takes it. And that's weird because Connor's like a guy that, first two rounds, if he doesn't end it, it's over most of the time for McGregor.
Connor gasses out. That's the
Yeah,
issue. He'll gas out in his fights.
but I think that Chandler, if there is a McGregor fight on the table, I think that you could see something. You could see something where Chandler is not going to want to finish it. Like I think he's going to want to make it competitive, and that's going to hurt him. So that's why
Yeah,
I would.
I don't see Connor fighting him. I think Connor and Tony would be perfect. I really think
Yeah,
because
of
they're both
course.
at the level where they're not winning. They keep losing. They keep losing.
I think Tony's a little bit on a lower tier than Connor right now.
You could,
Yeah.
but the rankings say otherwise. Tony's 6
I
right
would love
now.
to. I would
Connor's
love to
8.
see a Nate Diaz a rematch. Obviously,
That's a
that's
really
probably
good
my
fight
ideal.
because I know Connor and Nate will never touch the title again.
Yeah.
That's not happening. And if they just, if they realize that, Nate will definitely be down for number 3. And so if Connor, the thing is that too, Dana needs to give him the money they want because that's a money grab. You're telling me one of the best fighters ever,
Million
most
plus, you
historic.
think? You think
Yeah,
million plus?
they definitely both see. Connor's gonna want a lot of money. Connor's gonna want no less than a mil. Nate is gonna know his worth if he's fighting Connor. See, they're underpaying him, man. Francis only got what 600K his last fight. Did he even get a mil? I don't think Francis got a mil his last
Wait,
fight.
who?
Francis Ngannou versus his last fight is.
Man, Dana's ripping off that heavyweight division, but that's because there's not a lot of
He's
eyes
ripping
on it,
off everyone,
and
man.
he's purposely doing it because he did not promote that
He
fight
needs to
very
pay his
well.
fighters.
He's doing it on purpose, man. But I wanna elaborate more, especially in guys like Tony Ferguson, if he doesn't fight a Conor McGregor, okay, and I know we were just about to talk about another guy
Yeah.
but for potential matchups, but if you don't see Tony Ferguson fighting Conor McGregor, who do you see him fighting? Because I would love to see Dan Hooker, even though Dan Hooker would probably kill him.
That's a good fight.
Yeah,
I think him and Hooker would be a really good fight. I think Hooker comes on top, man. Tony's getting old. Tony can't wrestle anymore. You saw Oliveira is the best with the ground game in the UFC right now. He's like a baby Khabib.
yeah,
But like I know you can't compare that to a Dan Hooker, but still Tony. I think Tony has one more loss away. His contract, he's done. He's done for the UFC. So I honestly think him and Connor is the perfect fight right now. Connor needs to understand that he's not the best anymore and that he can't just control who he wants to fight. So I think him and Tony would be a perfect fight for both of them. They both haven't won a fight in 2-3 years.
yeah.
I don't know, man. It's bad. McGregor hasn't won.
After the Gaethje, sorry to cut you off, but after the Gaethje Oliveira fight, I think that Makhachev jumps right up. So that means a lot of guys are just gonna slide down and slide
Yeah,
up, and a lot of things are gonna shift. So I think Connor, you could see him potentially falling to like 11 on that list.
yeah,
12
because
on that
Connor's
list.
one loss away, man.
Yeah. He's
He's
not
gonna
coming back until
retire.
the summer, man. Yeah.
He's getting injured, man, and his body's not like that. He has too much ring dust.
It's gonna be
His
for a
body
year,
is,
man. It's gonna be for a year. He's not gonna be able to fight, man. That's crazy. You know what I
and
mean?
his body isn't used to fighting anymore. He's breaking. He's tearing limbs, making the wrong step. You know,
Yeah.
so he needs the. I think he's he definitely Tony
What do you
Ferguson's
think
only
that's
fight.
resulted from? Is that the fact that he moves up
That
and
that, that
down from
Yeah,
divisions so
see, there's
much?
actually someone did a study on why he can just. It's because his body's not used to weight cutting anymore.
Yeah.
That his fibers is easier for him to
His
break
walker,
them.
bro, he's huge, man.
Right
He's
now,
like
yeah, he's big.
250, bro,
Yeah,
240.
he's big right now.
Yeah.
But no, Connor definitely doesn't want to go up weight classes. He has no one to fight if he goes up. If he fights welterweight, who is he going to fight? He
Yeah.
will get ruined if he goes down. See now, this is a discussion. This is the thing. This is how I want to talk about.
Yeah.
If he goes down to featherweight again and he fights Max Holloway, that would be insane because that's where he dominated featherweight. That's where he wants to go. But he's too old now.
Yeah.
He can't go down to featherweight again. If he cuts to featherweight, who knows what he's walking around now? He wants to go to featherweight.
All right. I got you, man. I got you. So it's
Oh,
just
man.
we've been on this topic for a little bit. So I just want to
Yeah.
close it. I want to close it out because we've had a lot of great cards in the past 3 months. With
Mhm.
Covington, Usman. Then we've had Gaethje. We've had, on the same card we have Gaethje Chandler. Then we've had Oliveira. Oliveira. I'm forgetting everything right now. Who did Oliveira fight? I'm forgetting everything right now. I watched that fight.
Oliveira fought Dustin.
Dustin Poirier.
Oliveira and Dustin.
So I mean, obviously, as far as pound for pound fighters right now, can you name your top five? 'Cause top 10 is a little extensive. Just your top five right now,
Pound for pound,
pound for pound.
Usman #1. Right now or all time? Right now,
No, right now because we just did our all time. So
Usman. I'll put Usman, Adesanya,
okay.
Volkanovski, because he's on the 11 win streak or 13? I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Francis and Oliveira. I think that because no one's touching Usman. No one pound for pound wise, as we're saying, Adesanya, no one touches him.
Okay.
Volkanovski, I don't see anyone beating him in featherweight. Max maybe, but that's a long shot. Francis, we already know that's very hard.
I think out of that top five, the top five, I think the two that are most vulnerable, especially in the difficulty in their divisions, are like Volk, because I mean guys like Brian Ortega in that division are only getting better. Yeah, Rodriguez is only getting better.
That was a great fight. That was a
and
really good fight.
I love Brian Ortega. I think he's a future champ as well. But and even Oliveira, I think anybody in that division could take that belt away from him. I think anybody from one through 6-ish, 1 through 5-ish. I think anybody in the top five could take that belt from him. Honestly.
He could. But I don't know, man. Volkanovski's too good.
And
But right now,
Ngannou's in threat too. But sorry for cutting you off, especially if he fights John Jones or if he fights a Stipe. I think that belt is like it's loose, man. Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
don't know anymore though, bro. I don't know, man, because Francis is getting better. He's a calm fighter now. He's a better wrestler. He's smarter, so that's scary. I don't know if anyone beats him now, except Gon in a couple years because he's gonna get better. I
And
think Gon's gonna be
I
the
think
face
Stipe
of the
or John
heavyweight
Jones.
division.
Yeah.
John Jones too, but they don't know. They need to figure that out. But my top 5 pound for pound: Usman, Adesanya, Volkanovski, Francis, and then Oliveira. That's my pound for pound right now.
So that like
100%.
kind of lines up with the UFC's. I have it up here right now. I'm not gonna
hmm
go with that because I don't agree with it full heartedly. As much as
hmm
I love guys like Volk and Charles Oliveira, I think they're a little bit overrated. So
hmm
I'm gonna go with number 1 Usman because as much as I love to put Ngannou up there because I think he's more dominant,
But Usman's the best man.
I
100%.
do think that Usman, just the accolades and what he's done in the past, I mean he's barely lost, man.
For sure.
He hasn't lost. So, and then you got number 2, I think Adesanya.
hmm
And any of these three being number 1 or number 2 or number 3 doesn't bother me. I don't think Usman
Yeah.
can fall under number 2, but I do think any of these guys in any of those positions wouldn't bother me that much. Like I'd probably have Usman number 1, Adesanya number 2,
hmm
Ngannou number 3. I'd probably have Volk number 4. And as much as I hate to say it, man, and I really don't love his fighting style, but I'm gonna have to put Oliveira at 5. And, and,
Yeah.
and I do think he easily anybody in that top 5 could beat him. I think Gaethje probably has probably the best chance out of maybe Islam to beat
I don't
him.
know, man.
But yeah,
Islam definitely is gonna beat him eventually. He's gonna get up in the ranks.
how
Islam's
old
around
how
the
old is
lightweight.
Islam? 26? He's
20,
older.
20. I think he's younger. No, he's like 25, something like that, around that age. But I don't know,
Yeah,
man. He's just keep getting better, and he's a little Khabib. I think he could be better than Khabib. I'm telling you right now, it's a long shot. I think he's gonna run lightweight, and no one's gonna beat
yeah.
him. No one's gonna touch Islam. Same with Kamzat
Well,
Chimaev
well,
too.
well, that division is just so stacked, man. You have
Lightweight is a scary division.
no lightweight is the best division in the
100%.
UFC, and even I just want to start talking about welterweight because that division is really good.
It's really good too, but
It starts
you
to
see who's
fall
at the
off
top.
later, but the top 5 or 6 guys, 7 guys are big names. Maybe not,
Yeah.
but welterweight will start to phase out as those guys start to get older. So that's why I like
hmm
guys like Kamzat. You know, he's coming in. He's a young gun. He's the youngest in that top 15.
Yeah.
And then there's another dude that they wanted to match him up against, but and I saw one of his
Who
fights.
comes up?
I didn't know who he was. He looked really good. I think his name is like Shavkat
For
Rachmanov. Yeah, yeah. His name is Shavkat Rachmanov. His name is Nomad. Like this is his nickname. He's 15 and
oh
0.
yeah, I've heard of him.
He's also
Yeah.
15 and 0. And they said that why don't we just do that? And as much as I love to, as much as like I would love to see that because they look probably both really good. I would like to see Kamzat probably fight the
I think a
winner of the
Wonder
Colby
Boy.
Covington. I
See that's a very big jump. That
I
would be
think
not that wouldn't be fair to Leon or
yeah, that's
Vincent.
true. No.
They can't
I'm
do
not
that.
gonna say the Usman fight. I'm saying the winner of uh either the loser of Covington Masvidal. I think the loser of that fight maybe comes down and fights comes out, especially if it's Masvidal.
Not not
Especially if
not
it's
yet.
Masvidal.
Not yet.
I don't think Covington because
I
Covington.
think Kamzat needs one more win and then he'll touch maybe a.
That's
I
fair.
think Kamzat fights a Wonder Boy. After Wonder Boy, then he can
That
touch
would
on
be fun. That
Masvidal.
would be fun.
But I don't know where Masvidal is going to be,
But he
bro.
would
Because if
touch
he
him up
loses
though.
this,
No,
if
no.
Masvidal loses, man, who knows where he's going to be?
Yeah.
He's probably going to step into the boxing world. Who knows, man? A lot of these fighters, man, they're tired of not getting paid enough. Because Dana does that when they
Yeah.
lose a fight and they lose two, they don't get paid, bro.
Yeah.
And that's where they want to do money fights, but Dana won't pay the money fight.
And
So
that's my the UFC kind of needs to restructure how they schedule fights and
100%.
how much they pay because
hmm
they're making margins and even Joe Rogan has talked about this and and you know he's close friends with Dana White and he says that you know they should pay fighters a lot more
Of course,
and
they have to.
he's come out and said that but you know Dana's a businessman first and he'll eventually do it as the company begins to grow and at the same time he doesn't own the company anymore you know
But he still has to pay out the fires. It's his
yeah
company. He's running it. He needs
he's
to pay,
running everything
and he can definitely pay him. But he's just being
yeah.
selfish, man. And I get how he said it's a company. If they don't like it, they can go. But the thing
At
is, they
least give
will
him
go.
free healthcare, and that's where I agree with guys. Like I know it's unrelated,
100%.
like Jake Paul. I know he was trying to, but
Yeah, that's it.
I agree with Jake Paul. I think they need free healthcare. I think they need these things because it's such a dangerous sport. But you know, I'm gonna
Yeah.
close it out there. I think This was a success.
100%.
And I don't know if
Really
you
good
have
podcast.
anything to share.
I mean, that's a good way to end it off for sure. We covered a
All
lot
right.
of points, a lot of debates.
Yeah, this has been the Hot Seat, episode 2, UFC
Yes.
edition. We're definitely gonna have more of these. Yeah, love
100%.
having Christian on. That's my guy. And we'll
Sir.
see you next time. Peace.
Peace out.